once you sit there and your eyes are closed, it's quite easy to feel the body because you're taking away the sense impression from the eyes and all these things. So taking always a little time in the beginning to feel the body very carefully. And if you need to make any adjustments to your posture so you can be nice and comfortable, then this is a good time to do it. But this is also the time to make sure that you don't have any tensions in the body. But if you have any tensions, take a few deep breaths. And with those deep breaths, allow all the tensions to disappear. willpower, there is volition, there is driving, there's something there. Then things start to calm down all by themselves. One way of doing this is just to remind yourself to accept whatever is happening. Anything happening is okay. No reaction is required there. Just being a passenger, a passive observer. sutta that I'm going to read is called the Arulambavanga Sutta, exposition on one concept. That's in paragraph 39. Sorry, I said we're going to have questions now before we move on. Let's have some questions on the previous stuff first of all. So, yeah.
Contemplating the body in the body, contemplating the body on the body, contemplating the body as a body.
Yeah.
What does it mean by contemplating the body as a body?
I think the idea is, this is what comes from the commentary to the sutta. The idea is that you see what the object that you have created. You don't mistake it as a self, you don't mistake it as permanent, you see the body in its true nature. That's how it's explained in the commentary essentially. You see that you don't have a delusion about the body is like it. And that way, because you don't have a delusion to start with, you can move towards an even deeper realization of the true nature of the body then. But there's two, I think, for me, I'm not sure if the commentary is right. I mean, I know many people who have the commentary clearly is wrong in its interpretations. And once you know that the commentary can be wrong, then you have the right. In fact, you have the obligation to check the commentary very carefully to make sure it doesn't get it wrong. And there's two things about this phrase. The first thing is that as the ending of kaya, the locative ending, it means literally in, so it actually means in the body. And as the body, it's a slightly different meaning. Sometimes the meanings are flexible, so it's not impossible that it can be as the body. But usually the meaning is in. So that would be the more natural meaning here. And then when you also add the evidence from the Anapanasati Sutta, which literally says that this is one body and one body, so one body in the body, if you like it, and the same feeling, one feeling among feelings. That evidence to me is very strong to point out that this actually means the body in the body. An alternative interpretation is that sometimes the Pali is formed like that. You have the same word, kaya, rupasi. The word kaya comes twice. Now, it is an idiomatic way the Pali is often expressed, because, for example, you can say that the clinging that clings, for example, and you use the same word once. Clinging clings, right? In English, you don't use it once. So it could be that the meaning simply is to contemplate the body in the story. But this idiom of the Pali, the way the Pali is framed, that actually uses the body twice, but it doesn't actually mean anything special. So those are the two ways I would consider the more likely meaning of the story. Any other questions on the Dhamma Sutta before we move on to the next one? Yes. Which is required to become a sort of it seems that any Dhamma attainment might be sufficient for any level of awakening. That's what it says in the suttas. If you take the sutta, for example, what's it called again now? The Mahamudukya Sutta, I think it's called, 1964. If you read that one, it gives you an explanation for how to reach awakening. And it shows you that you can base that awakening experience on any of the four jhanas, or the three first immaterial attainments. So that seems to be the kind of the standard. One of the big debates in modern times is also whether you need jhana at all to become a stream enterer. There's no absolute evidence in the sutta that we require it, but I would say the evidence is quite strong that you need certainly samadhi, and the question is just how deep are samadhi. Usually the word samadhi in the sutta means jhana. That's the main meaning of the word samadhi. It is a little flexible, have more meaning than that, but that's the main meaning of it. So I would say basically yes to be jhana, but whether it's absolutely required, there is some disagreement on that one. Yeah. Yes. Sure. The point there is simply to make the point that all the bodies are included in this. This particularly in another Lakana Sutta, the second Sutta that the Buddha supposed to have spoken of aspects of non-self, the non-self for this was. And in there he said that, you should understand that the body, all bodies, past, present, future, outside, inside, inferior, superior, far away, near. And then he says, all bodies, you should understand them as non-self, not me, not mine, etc. So the point is that there is no such thing as a body that is self. Anything that you can think of is included in non-self in terms of body. And then he says the same thing about feeling, about perception, about sankhara, the will of volition, and finally about consciousness. There is no consciousness that is outside, of the conditioned type of consciousness that we normally experience. So the point is just to say that it includes everything, it includes all bodies, all possible bodies. Okay, well, what you do is that you don't have to really contemplate all those characteristics. All you have to do is, first thing, contemplate your own body. That's the most important thing. And I say, all you have to do is do anasati practice. But if you want to do like contemplation of the 32 parts or whatever, that seems to be one of the most important aspects of Sattva. And you can do that as well. To contemplate the self. The idea of one of the things that we're trying to do with contemplating the 32 parts is to reduce the attachment to your body there. And the most important body to reduce attachment to is your own body there. Once you get that attached to your own body, you also get that attached automatically to the body of others. That is just an automatic process. Focus on yourself. That is the most important thing there. So seeing your own body in terms of 32 parts. It doesn't have, some people find this uncomfortable to do because it's like too realistic or something, But actually it's not really what I'm comfortable. It's just that this is what we're made up of. It's just reality, really. You have these parts of the body there. Might as well be honest with it. There's no point pretending it is otherwise. So if you are realistic about things, then you can see that, and then you can see actually it's not really, you can think about some of these parts of the body, it's not really all that attractive. Then you take away some of the desires, some of the attachments, and things like that. So it's not that you have to concentrate all these aspects. I would say the most important thing is to concentrate your own, and then later on you understand that other people's bodies are the same as mine. And by doing that, in a sense, you are including all these aspects of the thing. I think in that the Lakana Sutta, the reason why there are all these different characteristics is more that the Buddha is telling you that there is nothing out there, which is a permanent body or a self, anything like that. It's more like a statement to make it very clear so nobody gets it wrong. It doesn't mean that you have to contemplate all those things. It's just more saying, well, this is the way it is. Don't think that you can find a body that is different from, that is not impermanent or anything. Sure, it happens. Yeah, of course. Yeah, you can know for yourself. Yeah, sure. But that doesn't mean that you have to contemplate exactly in that way. You can know for yourself. That is not necessarily a contemplation. It's just an explanation of how things are. The contemplation may be different. Yeah. Anyway, yes.
John, you're supposed to contemplate the body internally and externally.
Yeah.
Sorry, the feelings, the mind, the Dhamma. How do we do that externally?
Okay, so the point there, this is my understanding, because I sometimes disagree with the commentators. My understanding is that internally is remembering that you have 32 parts of the body. Externally is remembering that other people have 32 parts of the body. Internally and externally is like when you universalize and realize the nature of all bodies. You make a distinction between yourself and others. This is the nature of the body. Feeling is a similar kind of thing. I don't think it means, reading other people's minds. That's what it says in the commentary. I find that hard to believe that most meditators can't do that. What it means is understanding that the feelings you have, other people have as well. And then you universalize. So this is the nature of existence, the nature of beings to have these kind of feelings. So there is first understanding directly from yourself, then understanding this is also others, and then the universalization, this is the nature of existence. And the same thing with mind, and the same thing with Dhamma as well. It's starting with yourself, understanding this is also the nature of others, and then you universalize existence. Make sense? Yeah? Yeah.
Related to that, when you say that, one says that because it's Ajahn is dukkha, largely it's the same.
Yeah.
But because it's dukkha, it's anatta.
Yeah.
I couldn't catch that largely. How is dukkha resolved?
Okay. The reason that is so is you have to understand the kind of what the Buddha was teaching. Because the Buddha was basically teaching at the time when the Brahmanical discourses, the Upanishads, the Vedas, etc., were reduced. And in those, the ideas of the Brahmins at the time, so there is a self. That self is permanent and is happy. Right? Permanent and happy, that the characteristic of self. And the Buddha said, actually, there is no such thing as a permanent and happy self. There is just suffering and impermanence. So, if it is suffering, it cannot be the type of self that the Brahmins were talking about. Okay? So, because the standard idea at the time was that the self is by definition something which is happy, because it's suffering, it can't be self. Right? Okay. But more commonly, what the Buddha would say, he would say that it's whatever is impermanent, suffering, and subject to change. He would say, if you put all of those things together, he would say, is that a self? Can that be a self? He would normally wouldn't just say dukkha. He would put together impermanence, suffering, and subject to change together. Then he would say, can that be called self? And then people would say no. Right? But again, even that has not yet. It has a foundation. Why is that self? Because the idea again of the self is something which is permanent by definition. So this is kind of you have to know that the self is supposed to be permanent before that makes sense as well. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? Think about it. Come back later on. We can discuss more afterwards if you like. Yes. Sure.